One of the greatest truths in life is this: you have unlimited potential, but potential alone is not enough. It must be refined, directed, and developed through deliberate effort, continuous personal growth. Growth is not automatic. It requires intention. Just as you wouldn't expect a garden to flourish without care, you can't expect your mind, your skills, your life to bloom without regular cultivation. Every person who has achieved greatness, whether in business, leadership, or life, has done so by committing to the simple, powerful discipline of daily self-improvement. They decided once and for all to become lifelong students of their craft, their character, and their capacity. Personal growth doesn't happen by accident. It is not something you stumble into, it is something you decide upon. The moment you make a conscious choice to grow, you begin to redirect your life. Too many people wait for motivation or inspiration before they take action. But the truth is, growth begins with a decision backed by discipline, not feelings. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. If you act with intention, you'll begin to change your life one deliberate step at a time. Growth requires a plan. Just like a builder needs a blueprint, you need a structure for your development. This means setting clear goals, identifying key skills, and carving out time each day for learning and reflection. Without a plan, your effort becomes scattered and reactive. But with a plan, you move with purpose. You know where you're going and what you need to do to get there. Intentional growth means knowing the direction, not just wandering aimlessly hoping to improve. But intention alone isn't enough. It must be paired with daily discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's what gets you to read that book instead of watching TV. It's what pushes you to make the call, write the email, finish the project, especially when you don't feel like it. Successful people aren't always more talented, they're more disciplined. They've trained themselves to do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum leads to mastery. Every time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, you build a habit. Those habits become the building blocks of your growth. Think of it this way: every disciplined action is a deposit into your future success. Over time, these deposits accumulate and begin to compound. What seems difficult at first becomes automatic. What once required effort becomes your new standard. Without discipline, even the best intentions fall apart. You may start strong, but when distractions arise, and they always do, you drop. That's why most people never realize their full potential. They confuse motion with progress. They stay busy without getting better. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It anchors you to your goals and keeps you moving forward long after the initial excitement fades. Every day you have a choice. Will you act with discipline or drift with distraction? The more often you choose discipline, the easier it becomes, and the more you live intentionally, the more control you gain over your results. Growth, then, is not a mystery. It is a formula: clarity of purpose, backed by consistent action, repeated daily. When you live this way, progress is not only possible, it becomes inevitable. One of the greatest principles of success is the power of small, consistent actions. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can do in a short time and completely underestimate the impact of tiny improvements repeated day after day. The truth is, massive success is not the result of giant leaps. It's the accumulation of small, smart steps taken consistently. Every major achievement in history was built one decision, one action, one improvement at a time. Growth doesn't come from doing one thing 1,000 times in a day. It comes from doing the right thing once a day for 1,000 days. This concept, known as the compound effect, works in your favor when you commit to steady progress. Just reading 10 pages a day adds up to over 3,600 pages a year, more than a dozen books. Spending 15 minutes a day improving a skill adds up to over 90 hours a year. Small disciplines, repeated with consistency, create extraordinary outcomes. The beauty of small improvements is that they are manageable. They don't require radical changes or dramatic effort. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to take the next step, improve. Just that 1% may not feel significant now, but over time it transforms everything. Success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency in the direction of excellence. What often stops people from growing isn't a lack of talent, it's the mistaken belief that progress must be quick and flashy. So when they don't see immediate results, they quit. But growth is like planting a seed. You water it, you nurture it, and for a while you see nothing. Then, almost suddenly, it begins to sprout and soon it becomes a tree. The same applies to personal growth. It may be invisible for a season, but when it breaks through, the results are visible and powerful. One of the greatest advantages of focusing on small improvements is that it builds confidence. Every day you follow through on your growth habit. You send a message to yourself, I follow through, I keep my word, I get better. That kind of self-talk compounds. Confidence isn't built by grand victories, it's built by small wins, stacked on top of each other until they form a foundation of certainty and belief. Personal growth is not an event, it is a lifelong journey. It doesn't end when you reach a goal or achieve a milestone. In fact, that's often when the real growth begins. The moment you see success as a destination, you stop evolving. But when you understand that life is a process of continuous learning, discovery, and improvement, you open yourself up to greater levels of achievement, fulfillment, and contribution. Growth is not a phase, it's a way of life. Think of the most successful individuals in any field. They never stop learning. They read, they study, they ask questions, and they surround themselves with mentors. Why? Because they know that stagnation is the enemy of excellence. The moment you think you've arrived, you've actually begun to decline. In this fast-moving world, what you knew yesterday is not always enough for today, and certainly not enough for tomorrow. To stay relevant, you must stay in motion. The concept of lifelong learning doesn't just apply to professional skills, it also applies to emotional intelligence, leadership, communication, discipline, and resilience. These are not talents you're born with. They're abilities you refine over time. Every conversation, every challenge, every setback becomes a classroom if you're willing to treat it as such. The people who grow the most are those who adopt the mindset of a student, no matter how far they've come. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is the daily discipline of asking, what did I learn today? This question keeps you humble and sharp. It keeps your mind open and your perspective grounded. The reality is, you don't need to experience a major breakthrough every day, but you do need to extract a lesson. Even small insights build a deep well of wisdom. When gathered consistently over time, growth comes from reflection as much as it comes from action. Treat every stage of your life as a season of growth. Whether you're just starting your journey or you've been on the path for decades, there is always a next level. There is always more to learn, more to give, and more to become. This mindset fuels purpose. It gives you direction beyond comfort or achievement. People who live with a growth mindset don't settle for maintenance. They aim for mastery, and that mastery is never final. There is always room to grow. When you see personal development as a lifelong journey, you liberate yourself from pressure and perfectionism. You no longer have to get there by next week or next year. Instead, you focus on becoming better each day over a lifetime. This creates peace, it creates power, and it creates progress that lasts. Your best self is not a fixed point. It is an evolving version of who you are becoming through experience, learning, and the quiet discipline of continuous self-improvement. If you want to radically improve your life, Stop looking for the big break and start focusing on the daily edge. Ask yourself each day, what's one thing I can do to get a little better? Then do it. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again the next day. That rhythm, that pattern of progress, eventually reshapes your habits, your skills, your mindset, and your results. Over time, the small things become the big things. Time is our most precious and limited resource. It's not something you can buy more of, and once it's gone forever. Managing your time effectively is not just a skill, it's a habit that must be developed over time. The first step in mastering your time is to realize that time management is not about working harder, but working smarter. You can't make more time, but you can certainly make better use of the time you have. This means prioritizing your activities and focusing on what truly matters. The foundation of effective time management begins with planning. Every successful individual takes time at the end of each day to plan the following day. This simple habit can transform your entire approach to life. Without a clear plan, you can easily become reactive, letting the demands of others and unforeseen distractions dictate how you spend your day. When you plan ahead, you begin each day with intention. You know exactly what needs to be done and in what order. It's the difference between driving with a map and driving without knowing where you're going. Another powerful time management strategy is to prioritize your tasks. Not all tasks are created equal. The most successful people know that their time is limited and they choose to focus on the most impactful activities. This is where the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle comes in. This rule states that 80% of your results come from just 20%. Identifying that vital 20% and giving it your full attention can drastically improve your productivity. This means saying no to less important tasks and activities that drain your time and energy. It's about recognizing that not everything is worth your time. Time management also means having the discipline to avoid distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, from emails and phone notifications to social media and endless meetings. It's easy to lose focus. The key to managing distractions is to create an environment that supports your focus. This could mean turning off your phone during work hours, creating a quiet workspace, or using apps that block distraction. It's about training yourself to recognize when you're being pulled away from your goals and quickly getting back on track. Effective time management isn't just about organizing your work, but also about creating routines that support productivity. High-performing individuals develop routines that help them start their day with clarity and end their day with a sense of accomplishment. A well-established routine can include habits such as morning exercise, a healthy breakfast, reading for personal growth, and setting your most important goals for the day. These routines provide structure and reduce the mental effort required to decide what to do next. When your daily actions are governed by positive habits, your time is used far more efficiently. Finally, effective time management requires you to learn to say no. This is often the hardest part for many people, especially those who want to please everyone or who are afraid of missing out. However, saying yes to everything can stretch you too thin, leading to burnout and diminishing your productivity. The power of saying no is in setting boundaries that protect your time and energy. It's about recognizing that every time you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to something else. Perhaps something more important. Learning to say no allows you to safeguard your most precious resource, your time. The people you spend time with have an immense influence on your life. Whether you realize it or not, the people around you shape your thoughts, behaviors, and even your future. They can lift you up or bring you down. The power of your social circle is undeniable. Your environment will either encourage your growth or hinder it. To truly thrive, you must deliberately choose to surround yourself with individuals who are positive, motivated, and who hold you accountable to your highest potential. Success is contagious, and the more you associate with high achievers, the more likely you are to adopt their habits and mindset. One of the most powerful things about being around winners is their ability to inspire you. Winners are people who consistently set and achieve high standards for themselves. When you surround yourself with individuals who are committed to excellence, their enthusiasm and dedication become infectious. You will find yourself setting higher standards for your own life. The conversations will shift from complaining about problems to discussing solutions and ways to improve. As you grow in the company of people who are always striving to be better, you'll naturally adopt that same mindset and approach to your own challenges. The right people also push you out of your comfort zone. It's easy to stay complacent when you're surrounded by people who are just like you. People who aren't pushing themselves or challenging their limits. However, when you place yourself in an environment with individuals who are constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, you begin to do the same. High achievers will encourage you to step outside of your comfort zone and take on challenges that once seemed intimidating. It's in this space of discomfort that growth happens. You begin to stretch yourself and uncover new capabilities, all because the people around you are challenging you to be better. In addition to inspiring and challenging you, winners also hold you accountable. Accountability is a crucial part of success. When you share your goals with others, especially those who are also striving for their own success, they help keep you on track. Winners don't let you off the hook when you falter. They encourage you to get back up and try again. They hold you to the commitments you make to yourself, even when you might be tempted to take shortcuts or quit. By having people in your corner who are as focused on your growth as you are, you create a strong support system that propels you forward even when the road gets tough. Surrounding yourself with winners also means that you get to learn from their experiences. One of the fastest ways to grow is to learn from the successes and failures of others. Winners often have valuable lessons to share about what has worked for them and what hasn't. By observing their approach to challenges, their work ethic, and their problem-solving skills, you gain invaluable insight. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when you're part of a community of successful individuals. Instead, you can adopt best practices, avoid common pitfalls, and accelerate your own growth by following their example. Lastly, the energy of winners is transformational. The energy and passion they bring to everything they do are powerful forces that can shift your entire mindset. When you spend time with driven, passionate people, it reignites your own passion. There's an undeniable energy that comes from being around people who are excited about their goals, their projects, and their vision for the future. This energy is contagious. It pushes you to take action, to keep moving forward, and to keep dreaming bigger. Winners don't just passively exist, they bring vitality and purpose to everything they do. By joining them, you tap into that same vibrancy and enthusiasm. Remember, the key to transforming your life is not just about setting goals or dreaming big. It's about taking consistent action every single day. It's about creating habits that push you toward progress, surrounding yourself with the right people, and staying committed to your growth. Action is the engine that drives success, and the more you take, the more you'll achieve. So don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for all the stars to align. Start today, right now, with the next step in front of you. The future you desire is waiting for you to act. Seize the moment. Step forward with confidence and watch your life begin to change. Thank you. Action is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. It is the one thing that separates dreamers from doers, ideas from results. The most successful individuals aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented, but they are often the ones who take swift and decisive action. The truth is, no matter how great your plans or goals are, they will remain nothing more than thoughts and aspirations, unless you take action on them. Waiting for the perfect moment or the right conditions is a surefire way to delay success. The best time to take action is always now. One of the key principles of action is the idea of moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. Many people get stuck in analysis paralysis, spending days, weeks, or even months trying to perfect a plan before they take the first step. While planning is important, overthinking can be a major obstacle to progress. The truth is, you'll never have all the answers up front. Successful people take action despite the uncertainty because they understand that learning and adjusting happen in motion. As you take each step, you gain more clarity and insight, and the next course of action becomes clearer. Don't wait for perfection. Take action and improve along the way. The speed at which you take action is also a key factor. The faster you act, the faster you learn. When you move quickly, you learn from your mistakes almost immediately, and this accelerates your growth. Action builds momentum. It's like pushing a heavy object at first. It's hard, but once you get it moving, it becomes easier to keep it going. Every action you take propels you forward and creates a snowball effect that leads to more action and greater results. The more you act, the more confident you become. This sense of momentum is what makes successful people seem unstoppable. They don't waste time second-guessing themselves. They just keep moving. Another important aspect of taking fast action is overcoming fear. Fear often holds people back from taking the first step toward their goal. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown, these fears can paralyze us and prevent us from moving forward. However, action is the antidote to fear. When you act, you immediately reduce the power that fear holds over you. Each time you take a small action in the face of fear, you build resilience and courage. The more you take action, the more your fear shrinks, and your confidence grows. Fear often dissipates the moment you start moving. Taking action also teaches you the invaluable lesson of adjusting along the way. Many people get caught up in the belief that they need to have everything figured out before they take the first step. The reality is, no one ever has the full picture at the beginning. What you think will work might not work at all, and that's okay. The key is to stay flexible and be willing to adjust your approach based on what you learn as you go. When you take action, you receive immediate feedback from the world, whether it's through your results or through the challenges you face. This feedback allows you to course correct, improve, and get closer to your goals, often much faster than if you had waited to perfect your strategy. Lastly, commitment to action is a mindset that must be practiced consistently. Successful people are not just people who take action once. They are the people who make action a consistent habit. They understand that results don't come from one bold move, but from a series of small, consistent steps. Each day they take deliberate actions that move them closer to their goal. This requires a strong commitment to staying focused, even on days when you don't feel motivated, or when things aren't going your way. Action requires persistence. It requires showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting the process, even when the results are not immediately apparent.